Hello and welcome to Smiling Souls. This is Stephanie Keenan Ray and Wendy Tadiucci. How are you doing today?
Introduce Jennifer. So Jennifer Clair is an evolutionary astrologer and spiritual counselor based in Colorado. She has been studying astrology for 23 years and practicing it professionally for the last 3 to 5 years. Jennifer's passion is education and helping people learn how to use astrology to live more conscious, mindful lives. She teaches evolutionary astrology with an emphasis on life purpose and soul development. Jennifer believes that the natal chart is one of the greatest spiritual self-growth tools we have, as it literally gives us the roadmap to our personal evolution. So welcome, Jennifer Clair, to Smiling Souls.
Thank you. So glad to be with you both.
Oh, thank you.
We are very excited.
So, how did you get into all of this?
You know, I ask myself that question every day. No, I mean, I get out of bed and I'm like, am I actually doing this for a living? It's pretty amazing. So for the past 3.5 years, it's been my professional career. I have a corporate background, you know, like most people. I've been on a spiritual path for a long time. And I was at a crossroads in my life when I went to my astrologer and she suggested I look into astrology professionally. So astrology led me to astrology.
Wow.
And literally all these previous jobs I've had, I met people who did astrology and came in, gave me books, gave me free readings. So the seed kept getting planted. And the message from my spiritual path is, are you surrendering to what shows up? Are you paying attention? Because you pray, God's will be done. You know, you pray, show me clarity. Well, now I feel like I wake up and I say, I have gratitude for clarity because I finally heeded the message and then the doors opened.
Yeah, exactly. That's so cool. And were you into this stuff when you were young, or was it something that happened upon when you got older?
Yeah, when I was really young, like in high school and early college years, I wanted to be a horse trainer. So I was always at horse barns and meeting people. And there was one woman in particular who was a strong mentor in my life. She taught me about astrology and she taught me about how our thoughts create our lives. And because I was so young, it really imprinted. And I went on thinking, I don't have to worry about what's going on out there. I just have to worry about what's going on in here. And that let me be open to so many other beliefs that other people thought were woo-woo.
Interesting.
And this woman that you mentioned, it might be the woman that was a horse trainer, Sherry. And so tell us about how she planted those early seeds in you within this.
So she had a lot of self-confidence. She had a lot of trust in herself. She was a completely independent thinker. I never met a woman like her before. I mean, she ran a horse farm by herself as a single woman.
Wow.
And she raised her horses naturally. They were all out on pasture. So I learned there's different ways to do things. We can break away from tradition and we can be more connected to nature. Western astrology is based on the seasons. It's connected to nature. So she just introduced me to it, but she introduced me to so much else that I think if it wasn't for her, I might have grown up believing things differently and never been open to astrology in general.
That's interesting.
Wow. So that was a huge imprint, as you mentioned, huge connection in your life very early on. And that taught you to think differently. And since you thought differently, you're living a different life than a lot of us have.
Yeah, I felt like I had permission and I didn't have the same kind of career path or agenda to get married and have kids. I was kind of a free spirit. So I did a lot of traveling and I met a lot of different people. I became a flight attendant for United Airlines. So my experiences kept growing and I kept realizing there's so many paths to God. There's so many beliefs I've never been exposed to. And so astrology, although it was planted by many different people, and I'll tell you about one next, I still didn't ever think about it that seriously. like as a career or as anything other than a personal growth system, to tell me about my personality, to tell me about my sun sign. Right. But then in my 20s, I'm working somewhere and the manager created a chart, gave me a book that sat on my shelf for 12 years before I even opened it. And now I use it almost daily in my practice. It's called Planets in Transit by Robert Hand. And he really planted a seed, because he cared. He put so much effort into my chart. He probably gave me 12 pages of notes, handwritten notes on my chart. And so I think sometimes in life, it's not the subject that matters. It's the people that show you they care, that then make you go, wow, I think I want to learn about this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And of course, it taught me about myself. And I look back at it now and go, all this stuff was accurate. All this stuff was helpful. And now I feel more conviction about the path I'm on because of astrology.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe, you said this was a manager?
Yeah, I was a manager at a store, and
Right.
we just talked astrology on breaks,
Right.
And he created my chart, and it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. Because, okay, so this is what we're going to show later on, is a chart that looks like this. That's the whole natal chart. So people don't realize their personality is associated with so many planets, and their soul's purpose is even showing up in the chart. So when we show Stephanie's, I'll go into that in more detail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I guess with the manager, my question is, do you feel like, looking back, he saw something within you that you didn't yet see in yourself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And that even goes back to Sherry and other people I was exposed to at that training barn. It was, they always kept saying, you have to have confidence and then you'll be unstoppable. That was the dominant message. And I still struggle with that.
Yeah. Interesting. That's
the passion is there. The passion is definitely there.
So being that if you hadn't run into these people along the way, they have not been open to these things. What was your parents' response to you?
Right.
I feel like I was very lucky.
Yeah.
Because I grew up Christian, but my parents were free spirits and they were very liberal. They said, basically, figure out what you want to believe and believe it. There were no harsh restrictions placed on me. So the downside is there's not a strong framework, right? I have to go out and experience all these things and try and figure it out on my own. But the good news is there wasn't, you can't do this placed upon me.
Yeah.
Those limiting beliefs that kept me from experimenting.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super important.
Yeah.
That sort of support that's allows you to grow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just for the record, my dad is a Sagittarius, my mom is a Leo, and I'm an Aquarius. So they're very extroverted and they like to entertain and have fun. And I was always more introverted. I always wanted to be reading and studying and learning, and they never really understood that. But anyway, I think we learn through our parents a lot what we need to learn, and I needed to learn it's okay, basically, to be different.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Do your parents know now, like, have you done their charts and you've done yours, and for them to go, oh, that's why Jennifer is introverted and that's why she's a little bit different, like, than we are?
Yes. Now at 41, just the past few years, I did their chart, and it was so wonderful for them to get to see, for me. And then I did my sister. So all of my family members, we all know how we are astrologically. So I feel like that brings so much peace and greater, ease in relating. Even if you don't relate, you can at least understand why they are the way they are. And if you have enough tolerance and acceptance, that can go a long, long way.
Yeah, it sure can. Just understanding the other person and going, oh, okay, that's why. Makes a ton of sense, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. So you might touch on this when you go into Stephanie's chart, but I'm wondering, with evolutionary astrology, how can that provide purpose and meaning to one's life. You're talking about the natal chart, might be something different, but you're talking about purpose. Like it's here. So how? What?
How? Okay, so this is a great question. Great question. So evolutionary astrology is all based on your growth as a soul. So it believes in reincarnation. It believes that this natal chart that you receive is an imprint of where you've been and where you're going. And there's points on the chart that say, this is where you're headed, and these are the qualities you're here to develop, and this is why. The why comes in the opposite point, the south node, which we'll talk about. But to answer your question, it's all about evolving and evolving so that you can fulfill your purpose. I don't know if I've answered that fully, but I can definitely illustrate it when I show the chart.
I can't wait. Okay. I can't wait to see this chart. This is so interesting. And also with that chart, well, specifically with evolutionary astrology, how can that reveal limiting behaviors and beliefs and in turn remedy those? How does that work?
Okay, in 2 words, well, the south node of the moon is 1 point and Chiron's another point. So I'm talking in terms of astrological language, because once you understand what those symbols mean, you understand where your core wound is, where your limiting beliefs stem from, where your unconscious behaviors that don't serve you in this lifetime are coming from. If you want, we can pull up the chart now.
I'm going to say, I think now is a really good time to get into Stephanie's chart. This is fascinating.
Can you see this? Okay, great. All right, so let's just get right into this.
Okay.
See the little horseshoe shape at the very bottom of the chart? It's in the second house. We call these spaces houses. So when I say house, I'm just referring to the space. Okay. So south node is telling us about your karma. Well, what does that mean? That means we need to study the archetype or the sign Aries. Aries has a lot of information about a person's karma and the gifts they come in with, and the strengths, the weaknesses, all of it. Then the opposite point is called the north node, and that tells us your soul's evolutionary high point. It's your aim in life. You're trying to develop Libra qualities to balance all the heavy Aries energy. I'm going to explain that more, but to talk about the limiting beliefs, we go into Chiron. These are the wounds that we receive early in life or from a past life that we carry in, and they tell us what is the limiting belief we carry. Well, Taurus is about not feeling enough, having a lack. Either a lack physically, emotionally, materially. And so you're always trying to be better. A lot of people have the Chiron and Taurus wound. It's all dependent on the time you were born. So that is a point that as an astrologer, I would dissect and I would explain. And then I would also explain, what does it mean to have it in the third house, which is communications and learning. So for you, this wound may have showed up in when you were trying to speak your voice and not being heard. Or you were trying to learn something and you had a hard time learning it, and maybe you were made fun of. There's a lot of examples. But going back to the north and south nodes of the moon, these are the points we look at to determine your purpose and what you're moving away from. Now, questions before I go on with more?
I was already giggling at north and south because my father is an Aries and my mother is a Libra.
Oh, wow. That is interesting. Okay. So in this case, you're maybe tending to learn more from your mom, even though you might relate more to your dad.
Yep.
Okay. I have a question on this. So as far as Steph and I go with being a match for this podcast friendship, I'm Aries.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm surrounded by Aries. My husband's an Aries. My sister's an Aries.
So what is this doing to Steph?
Okay, so I'm going to say something that's going to relate to both of you.
Okay.
I have a south node in Sagittarius, and almost all my family members, except for my mom, are Sagittarius.
Yeah.
So usually we are around people in our lives that are comfortable for us, which means they're comfortable and familiar because they resonate with our south node. They have that same sign. But they're also our teachers to help us recognize we're not here to be or do what's familiar.
Yeah.
We're here to grow into something that's very unfamiliar territory. Okay, so let me just explain.
Actually, I have
Okay, go ahead.
just while we're on it, because actually just the other day we were talking about this, I think at Easter, how like I've noticed I used to not be very good at remembering people's birthdays. Thank you, Facebook. I finally now know when people's birthdays are. And I'm realizing how many, like there are certain months where I absolutely don't associate with, I don't have people in those months, or it's an acquaintance, it's not a real friend. But like within the family, but even there are certain dates where it's like clusters. So like Wendy is literally, her birthday is the day before my husband's. And one of my other very good friends is like 2 days before my husband, and somebody else's husband's birthday is my husband. So it's like they're all in the same week. Like I was like a major cluster there, and there's a couple other things like that. So is there something around that where like is it kind of that same thing of just attracting the people, and it not necessarily the Aries one, because I do have others in other times of the year, but I find it interesting that like we have clusters, and like in our family we have clusters of like Aries, Gemini, a few Cancers, and then Libra.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few ways to explain that. One is, yes, it's familiar, it's comfortable, you're going to get along with those other Aries people, but then also you're Gemini, you have your sun, your moon, your Mercury all in Gemini, and that's masculine energy, and it's an air sign. So what that means is it gets along with fire, which is also masculine. Fire and air go together. They're compatible. So you're going to naturally get along with these people just because of your sun and moon.
Just because of that.
Gemini.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yes, and you could also have maybe reincarnated with similar souls. We come in with soul groups and they're familiar to you, but you do best when you find people who are Libra because you can learn from them. And here is why. You came in with strong survival skills. You came in with, it's like being able to do things on your own. But what I would say to you is that this is not a do-it-yourself lifetime. The 8th house is a relationship house, and Libra is a relationship sign. So you have double emphasis on learning and growing through your intimate relationships. Without them, you wouldn't be able to reach your highest potential. So key things to note about Libra: sharing, teamwork, cooperation. It's not about you winning, it's about you winning with your partner. Like together you cross the finish line. You might have to wait, you might have to have more tolerance, patience, acceptance. All those are qualities that Libra embodies. So let me just stop and say, you're still a Gemini at your core, and you're going to always act like a Gemini. This is simply to say that to achieve your soul's growth, you're wanting to adopt some Libra qualities.
Cool.
Wow. I love this.
You want to hear something else?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have Capricorn rising, which means people will meet you and they will think she's got business sense. She's serious. We can rely on her. Because the rising sign says this is how you act when you first meet people. Then we know that Saturn is your chart ruler because Capricorn and Saturn are associated. So we look at where Saturn is in the chart, and it's absolutely perfectly aligned to Mars. That's a strong aspect in your chart that we want to understand about you, because guess what? It's also in a relationship house, the 7th house. So you look for themes when you study a chart, and your soul kept saying, I'm here to learn through relationships, but that doesn't mean there won't be struggle. In fact, I would say based on this aspect that you bring powerful emotional intensity to your relationship. Do you think so?
I agree with that. Just
Probably.
And yet you have staying power. Like Saturn is the planet that's like, this is hard, but I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going to give up. But Mars gives you a lot of passion, drive, strong emotions that can often be expressed in your marriage more than anywhere.
Interesting.
So these are just some things that would stand out to me right away. And of course, in the chart reading, I analyze all of these positions and I explain, what does it mean to have empty houses? What does it mean to have a lot in one? And for you, just say, it doesn't mean anything bad that some houses, like the first house, have nothing in it. In fact, this is further confirmation that you are moving away from that individual, it's just about me kind of energy that Aries can sometimes display in its negative. Instead, you have 3 planets in the 7th house of marriage. You have your life purpose in the 8th house of intimacy, and you have 3 planets in love and romance and dating. So it's like, wow, your chart is being really clear with us that relationships are incredibly important.
Yeah. 100%. That is interesting too, because I've always like, I don't really understand when people are completely self-centered and, like they don't necessarily realize they're self-centered, but they're like, it's all about them, their pleasure, their experience, their whatever, even when they're living a life with other people, So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And you are also definitely destined to have children and learn through them as well, because the 5th house is also about children.
Okay. Jesus, that's like my fullest house.
Yeah.
What is happening in that house?
Well, you have Sun, Moon, Mercury. Those are all personal planets, and they're all in Gemini. So there's a lot of communication happening in that area of your life.
My child talks to me about everything.
Wow, yes, he does.
Everything.
Well, and there's proof.
Yep.
What sign is your sun?
Virgo.
Oh, he's a Virgo. Yes. So guess what? You guys share a ruler. Gemini's ruled by Mercury, the most talkative planet, and Virgo's ruled by Mercury, the most talkative planet.
And there are days where we're like, how does he keep talking?
I'm sorry.
That is
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
so funny.
So funny. Yeah, we always joke. We're like, are we sure Michelle didn't have him? My sister, because he has so many qualities of my sister. It's hilarious. We're like, oh, he really is Michelle. Genetics are fascinating.
But now you can see, like, you've got visual confirmation.
Crazy confirmation. Yeah, this is so fascinating.
And this is also what's important to know is a lot of people look at this and they're like, I don't understand. So I want to educate, not just give a reading. So I give you a chart that looks like this, that tells you what do all the houses mean. I give you a symbols guide so you can re-listen to the recording and go, oh, she was talking about Saturn. That's what it looks like.
Should we stop the share so that...
I'm sorry, what's that?
No, can we stop the share so we can actually see what you're holding up,
yes,
Jennifer?
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
No worries. I want to make sure everybody can see what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, stop share.
That was very cool.
Okay, so now this is what is called I just made this planet symbols guide. So people will get all this information from me when I do a reading.
Okay.
And then this is really important because it goes over these areas of life. So for example, Stephanie's areas of life that were really full were the 7th house, which is marriage and one-on-one partnerships. And then the 8th house, which is intimacy, rebirth, death, psychology, self-transformation, the occult. Like there's a lot of things in the 8th house, which you would want to unpack. Which I would unpack if I was giving you a reading, because there's more than just to say you're here to learn about merging in intimacy with another.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
and it's interesting too, because it's not just the marriage, it's the one-to-one, because I feel like I have certain key people in my life that are my one-to-one people that, they're girlfriends, but it's like they are just so important and, so, yeah.
That's very true. It's not just about marriage, the 7th house where you have Venus, and that shows you what you value. So each planet is tied to something. And Venus is not just how you love, but what you value. And it's in House of Partnership. So there you go. What does this do? It gives you validation. A lot of people who get their reading later in life, in their 50s or their 60s, they go, oh, this makes sense. I wish I had this done in my 20s.
Right.
I would have been less hard on myself, or I would have made this other decision and not worried what other people thought.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Geez, I feel like all the colleges and the universities in the world should hire you to come in and do all the students' charts, like in their early 20s, just saying. Because I can see how that would make life a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially like where do you have natural gifts and abilities
Yeah,
Yes.
instead of trying to learn math when you're a wonderful writer,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know?
Bingo. Wow, the world would be completely different. Okay, we just fixed the world's problems. Just hire Jennifer. So one thing I want to bring out, so you showed us Stephanie's chart,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've also got those 2 documents that you provide so you can
Yes.
understand the symbols, and then you can
Yes.
understand the meaning with the planets, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I
That is
also
so
provide
helpful.
you with these notes. So like 8 pages of my notes that I've taken. So all the research I do, you get to
Yeah.
keep.
That's
I
so
want you to
awesome.
have as much information as possible because you're going to look back on this like I did in my 20s. I'm so thankful for that manager. He
Mhm.
planted the seed as to how
Man.
I now run my practice.
Exactly. That is so cool.
And can we talk about what you are sharing with our viewers, listeners? Let's
Yes.
see. So so tell us about that.
Yes. So like my offerings, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so there's a few things. One, if you want free education, I have a YouTube channel and I
Yeah.
do have a whole series on the North Node, which is that life purpose point. I'm also about to launch a rising sign series, so you can just look up what does my rising sign mean. Then I have in-person workshops. I have one May 30th if you happen to be near Denver. That's all listed on my website, which is jenniferclairastrology.com.
Yep.
And then I have numerous free blogs that I post every month to educate. I have a newsletter for free that I send out. And if you would like a personalized reading, I will offer $20 off.
Wow.
And you can just put in the code podcast when you check out, all caps podcast.
Okay.
And that will be good for probably at least 6 months
Nice.
from now.
Wow. So
Yeah.
I thought that'd be a great time to mention that because if anybody's interested in getting their reading, that's how you're going to save $20 and understand this a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was so cool. I love it.
Mhm.
And in the center where the lines are zigzagging all over,
Yeah.
that
Good
is
question.
that have to do with the where the stars were or something were on our
Yeah, so this is actually my chart. I'm just going to hold up so you can see like all those little lines are called aspects, and they are mathematical angles that give us greater understanding of what are those planets communicating, and that means what parts of your psyche are either in harmony or not in harmony, and they need to work better together. So let's just give one quick example.
Yeah.
Say 2 planets are 180 degrees apart, there's a little bit of tension. One wants one thing, the other wants another. So you have to learn how to balance those 2 parts of yourself. It's like the person who wants freedom, and then the other one wants a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, aspects are part of what I study and research before the reading to explain in more detail.
So cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So Steph, there's one more final thing I would like to cover. And Jennifer, you talk a little bit about your journey and specifically your health journey.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing you to astrology. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes. So I have an autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's. I've also had 8 root canal teeth, which means I've had about 4 of them pulled out because they got infected, and just so much that I've had to do where I've had to, I haven't had energy. Let's just put it that way. I had to learn how to manage my energy and not so much time management. It was like, what's most important for me in life? Because I just don't have that much energy to give. And that's what led me eventually to say, life is short. Why am I working in these sales positions that are draining me? Or why am I trying to, push myself in fields that don't feel genuine? When I got into astrology, it was like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. I'm now working like 7 days a week. And it's because my body is physically enjoying the work. It's not emotionally hard. But I also will say Hashimoto's, if I hadn't gotten to that low point, I wouldn't have been able to change. I would have stayed probably where I was.
Yep.
So I think sometimes the whole point of this is we have to go through struggles. We have to go through the darkness to get to the light, and there's great meaning in it. And sometimes your chart can explain why, and then that helps you.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Wow. So astrology changed your energy.
Yes.
Holy smoke. And go, yeah, you're right. We have to go through the darkness to get to the light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, an example of that is being vulnerable. Like I'm very
Exactly.
nervous being on camera. I've
Mhm.
always been extremely introverted, but I feel like this is my purpose. And I feel like God's giving me the power. So I think everyone would feel like they were aligned with really what they're here to do.
Mm-hmm. So
Oh, wow. This has been an amazing interview.
it has. Thank you.
Jennifer, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
guys.
Wow,
I'm
you're so
so
welcome.
glad that we got to meet you and have you here.
Mhm.
This has been absolutely incredible. And I feel like we could definitely talk more, but thank you for being with us and with sharing your gifts and sharing so much. You do so much. I'm definitely going to subscribe to the YouTube page and
Yeah, same.
Thank you.
newsletter and all the things. That sounds so cool.
Thank you.
But yeah, I love that. Clearly your passion comes through and you're very knowledgeable too. Like I've spoken to other people who do not seem to exude the amount of knowledge. And I love that because I'm a learner. So
Yeah.
it makes me very excited.
That means a lot because I want to teach people. I don't want to just explain their chart. I want them to understand fully.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll see where that takes
I
me.
don't I don't remember if I asked you this before. Have you tapped into the astrocartology where it's like based on your astrological stuff where you should live and where you're
Yes,
good?
yes, yes. Quick funny story about that. When I had it done with my astrologer who did it for me, I was thinking of moving and she's like, I wouldn't do that. Your career is looking good near the center of the United States, near Denver, and so is love. And a year later, I met my husband. And I am happy, and he's got a good job here. I have my job here. So
Oh, wow.
I do think there's great value in having that done. I don't personally do astrocartography, but if anyone's questioning it, I can send them information for someone who does.
Awesome. Because yeah, like somebody was just randomly talking about it and she's like, oh, just Google it and da 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 da. And I did, but then you get a map with the symbols that are on your birth chart and you're like,
You don't understand it.
what does this mean? What are the
Yeah.
different color lines mean? I have no clue. And yeah.
I
So
will email you I will email you a link. I don't know it by heart right now, but I will, and if we want, we can add that in the notes in case anyone's interested.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would like that as well because
Okay.
Steph knows.
yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much. Wendy, you got
Thank
anything
you.
else?
No, just wow, Jennifer. I don't know how we met. I don't know what brought us here to this day, but it was all divinely guided. It was all guided by the moon and the stars. And so thank you for blessing us with this information.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being open to want to learn about it.
Absolutely. All right. See you next time.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.